I just want to let you guys know I may be spoiling the movie, so just be aware of what I'm saying on this video. Spoilers ahead, so please go see Brand New Day before you look at this video. But if you want to look at it and don't care about spoilers, go ahead and look at this video. But I warned you. Enjoy. I might be I might be behind on this. I don't know, but I just want to talk about why you should never let the inhibitor control what you do. The reason why I say this is because it was inspired by me watching Spider-Man Brand New Day. And shout out to that movie, and shout out to Tom Holland and the role he did with the movie and everything. Because I don't want to spoil anything, because I am saying inhibitor and you'll get the reference when you watch the movie. I don't want to spoil it, but I'll use it in my life. And what's going on is just that, like, sometimes based on that movie, you may go through things and you may try to suppress it with other ways, but there's no way of suppressing what you're already going through. The best way to do what you have to do is just express it, or just don't let it bother you, but know how to control it. Because that's what I had to do recently when I went to a facility. That's what I had to do recently when I went to a certain place and I had to go there and talk to a certain leader. I don't want to go in depth about it, but I'll talk about it more as time go on, because I don't know who could be watching this and I wouldn't want them to say the wrong thing or anything like that. So basically what I'm trying to say here is just that basically if you're doing the right thing and someone else doesn't like what you do, especially when it comes to you believing in Christ, you don't let nobody stop you. You still keep on going on what you're doing. Because for me, as a believer of Christ, I have certain attributes that I live by, and I don't ever let it stop me. I don't let what the world say or what stuff that's against my belief stop me from being what I am, even if I'm in a professional setting. And when I dealt with that certain leader last week as it's recording, that was a lot. You know, they were really testing my patience. I didn't let it get to me though. They were getting out of control. And then when other people came in, I knew how to control them, but that person didn't know how to control the environment, because that person was just not good at handling pressure. And so I just realized, hey, let them be them. I'm just going to be me. And I'm going to continue to speak the truth. And I'm never going to lie about what I am. I know that in professional settings, you have to have certain categories of what you got to do. You have to have certain adjustments of what you have to do, because you can't just do anything you want to do. But after watching that movie and reflecting last weekend, it really inspired me this whole week coming up in that professional setting that I talked about last week that was getting on my nerves a little bit, that you have to let your inhibitor go and go full on beast mode in what you are, and just know how to control it. Don't let it go all over the place, but don't let it be submerged. Balance it out. And it's full circle, because literally my pastor was preaching about it last week Sunday as I was recording, about having to clean your candle, lit your candle, make sure it's clean, but continue to have it open so other people can know about your belief. Don't be too worldly, but don't be too holier than thou. Have a balance, but understand that God is still the main point in your life. Just like for you, it could be something else. I don't know. Maybe it could be you following your passions. You may have other people telling you, do it this way, do it that way. When if you know what's right, do it that way. Take the practical steps, but have the faith to know it's going to work out if it's in your favor. If it's in God's favor, if you're a believer of Christ, as me. And it's not even just in that professional setting, it's even at home, because recently I had dealt with a relative who was being lazy. And I'm not trying to talk trash on him, I'm just being real. He didn't want to do nothing. You know what I mean? He was just there with his son, just doing his own thing. And my thing is, it's just that, like, hey, you gotta do your part, man. You gotta do your part, Unc. You know what I mean? You and your son, my cousin, y'all gotta do y'all part. It shouldn't just be me having to keep everything in this house clean. It shouldn't be just me and my grandma having to keep everything else neat. Because I referenced before that I had a family friend here while having some other people here And that was chaotic. And so, once again, I'm in that same scenario with those same people that I just referenced and that family friend. And so far, since he has left, and his son has gotten better. Now, I'm not saying here to try to talk trash to nobody or say like, oh, he's a worthless son of a gun. No, I'm just being honest. Just like how I always be honest about when it comes to my father, or when it comes to my mom or my grandma. I may talk about certain stories and just elaborate on it and use that trial or tribulation as an inspirational story to tell you guys in storytelling in the form of that. And so just with my uncle in that situation, he understood that, maybe in my opinion, I believe he may have understood, I don't think he did, that he's not the only one that should just relax. I'm not the only one that should work. Both of us got to come together. And I did that day. I said in front of my grandma, I said, I'm tired of just the fakeness. I'm tired of just having to do everything, because I've done it before in the past. I've referenced it in my podcast before how I used to be the butler of my own house I used to live in. Or let me rephrase this so I don't sound arrogant about it. A butler in my grandma's house that I live in, where I give her respect. And it's like I get thrown randomness at that time. It was just a random piece of trash. But by the grace of God, because I stand up and because she understood as the years went by through that experience, it's time to let the truth be in. And that might cause controversy. I don't know. If they're watching this, oh well, get mad, because that's on him. But at the end of the day, if he whispers what you say about me or whatever it is, it don't bother me, because at the end of the day, you're going to have people that's against you. Yes, you don't want to be like them, as my mother said before. Don't ever be like them. Don't ever say too much or say this and that or say this and that, but you have to speak your truth while having to be balanced. And that's what I did. I stand up to what he tried to put against me. And I said, we're doing the trash together. Just like that leader in that professional setting I referenced. I don't care how much that person was telling me, you can't say have a blessed day, you can't say this. I'm going to be me. As long as I'm not soliciting God into your property, how am I causing an issue? I'm there to make my money, and you allow me to be there. So it could be your company or someone else's company, but that shouldn't stop me from saying blessed day. It's not like I'm saying God bless you. Yes, this is my platform, and yes, when you're on other people's platform, other people's business, you have to respect their needs, yes. But you should never stop being who you are. And you should never stop standing down for the truth. I don't care what it is, because for me as a believer of Christ, yes, be wise what you're saying, wise as serpents, harmless as doves, but be truthful, because God's going to protect you. Because he's not going to allow nothing to happen to you, because if he has a purpose for you, you're going to keep on going. And just like Spider-Man in his movie, just piggying back to that, his problem was that he couldn't express his emotions. He was going through, he was trying to suppress it, but eventually he realized it would have burst anyway. So instead of, in real life terms, being a doormat and holding your emotions and then exploding and getting mad, he regulated his powers, just like how you can regulate your emotions and the people you're around and your surroundings and your job and your passion and your purpose and whatever it is. You can regulate whatever. Like heck, even for me, I switched to 3 different jobs before going to this 4th job. I made a children's book and I made a memoir. And they're both inspired by the same themes, primarily from my life and from that memoir. And it's never impossible to do what you love doing in this day and age. You can be you. Just do it the right way. That's all. My name is Brendan Brown. Hopefully you understand that your solution is that you go out there and be yourself and just take practical approaches with faith. Thank you.